For over a century, the world believed they knew the complete story of the famous tragedy. But in the chaotic aftermath of 1912, certain survivor testimonies were deliberately buried. Hundreds of people were rescued, yet only a carefully selected few were truly heard by authorities. The official inquiries quickly silenced those whose stories contradicted the established and approved narrative. These are the forgotten voices that the authorities desperately tried to hide from the public. Decades later, chilling fragments of these suppressed final interviews have finally been brought to light. Powerful men in the shipping industry had everything to lose if the absolute truth was exposed. Crew members were strictly ordered to keep their silence to protect the massive company. The official records claimed the disaster was simply an unpredictable accident of nature. But the hidden survivor accounts paint a much darker, far more terrifying picture of that night. Many third-class passengers witnessed events that completely defied the official published reports. In hidden interviews, they spoke of locked iron gates and deliberate delays that sealed their fates. Even the bodies recovered from the freezing ocean were treated with shocking, undeniable inequality. When survivors tried to speak to the press, they were quickly intimidated into silence. One survivor described a chilling realization long before the first lifeboats were ever lowered. He claimed the lower decks were flooding rapidly, while upper-class passengers were kept entirely unaware. Reporters who tried to publish these raw, unfiltered accounts found their stories immediately shut down. The financial ruin of the massive company was considered a bigger concern than the horrific loss. Frantic distress calls from the sinking ship were allegedly ignored by nearby resting vessels. One hidden interview from a surviving junior officer revealed a devastating structural miscalculation. He secretly admitted they were navigating completely blind, pushed to maintain a reckless and dangerous speed. Another suppressed testimony came from a surviving stoker who barely escaped the massive boiler rooms. He described an ongoing, secret fire in the coal bunkers that severely weakened the ship's hull. According to records, he was paid a substantial sum to completely forget what he saw. Some individuals from the upper decks later shared private memories that told a completely different story. They secretly confessed to watching half-empty lifeboats row away while thousands were trapped behind. The haunting sounds of the freezing ocean followed them, yet they were ordered to move on. Those who continued to speak out found themselves completely isolated and ruined by polite society. Their tragic truths were quickly buried beneath expensive public relations campaigns and massive official cover-ups. Time slowly erased their physical faces, but their hidden, forbidden words have miraculously survived. We are now ready to hear the chilling testimonies that were meant to be forgotten forever. One young mother from the lower decks recounted a memory that still haunts historians today. She recalled standing in freezing water while the wealthy were safely boarding lifeboats above.
A crew member allegedly ordered the iron gates to remain firmly locked, sealing their fate.
When she miraculously survived, officials explicitly told her to never repeat that horrifying detail. Another hidden file contains the desperate words of a surviving lookout from the crow's nest. He secretly swore that their critical binoculars were not simply lost, but intentionally removed. He believed basic safety was completely ignored to maintain the illusion of an invincible vessel. This explosive claim was quickly stricken from the official public record by the investigators. Then there is the chilling account of the mysterious ship clearly spotted on the horizon. Several survivors testified they saw lights from another massive vessel that simply sat and watched. Official reports aggressively downplayed these sightings, dismissing them as mere optical illusions. But one rescued officer secretly wrote that the mystery ship ignored their distress flares on purpose. Why would a nearby, fully equipped vessel refuse to assist a sinking luxury liner? Some researchers suggest it points to a much darker, calculated corporate decision. While that remains debated, the suppressed testimonies point to absolute and undeniable negligence. A surviving wireless operator spoke of the final, frantic messages sent into the freezing dark. He claimed that severe ice warnings were deliberately withheld from the ship's captain. The wealthy owners allegedly demanded that absolutely nothing slow down their triumphant arrival. Upon arriving on dry land, official authorities immediately collected his personal logbook. He was sternly warned that speaking out of turn would result in immediate imprisonment. The survivors were treated not as traumatized victims, but as extreme liabilities to a massive corporation. First-class victims were carefully preserved, while third-class passengers were unceremoniously buried at sea. A surviving crew member who helped in the recovery confessed he was utterly sickened by the orders. He wrote a letter detailing the horrors, a letter that authorities intercepted and tried to destroy. We only know of its existence because a duplicate copy was hidden inside a dusty coat pocket. These raw accounts completely destroy the romanticized myth of chivalry and honor during the sinking. Instead, they reveal a brutal, unforgiving fight for survival in the dark, freezing waters. The true cost of the tragedy wasn't just the horrific loss of life, but the complete loss of truth.
As we dive deeper into these archives, the final testimonies reveal the most disturbing secret of all.
One deeply buried document reveals the final moments of the ship's most senior officials. Contrary to the heroic tales of them going down bravely with the ship, a terrified survivor claimed she saw them desperately trying to board a lifeboat. The account stated they simply bypassed the waiting crowds without any hesitation. When she later submitted this written testimony, it was immediately destroyed by investigators. She was warned that ruining the reputation of these men would completely ruin her own life. The massive cover-up wasn't just about protecting the shipping company from lawsuits. It was about preserving the fragile illusion of upper-class superiority and order. If the public knew how the elite truly behaved in their final moments, it would have sparked absolute outrage across the heavily divided social classes. So the authorities fabricated a beautiful, tragic myth of absolute heroism. They heavily paid off the poorer survivors, who knew the ugly, terrifying truth. And those who refused the money were quietly intimidated into total submission. One brave journalist spent years secretly tracking down these hidden survivor accounts. His unpublished manuscript was found locked in a basement, decades after his unexplained death. Within those fragile, dusty pages lies the unedited nightmare of 1912. It details the piercing screams that the official inquiries completely erased from history. It exposes the locked doors, the half-empty lifeboats, and the sheer human greed. The true legacy of the disaster is not just the tragic sinking of a magnificent ship. It is the chilling realization of how easily the truth can be completely erased. For over a century, the ghosts of the silenced victims have waited in the dark. Their true final words were locked away in filing cabinets and forgotten wooden boxes. But today, these suppressed interviews finally give them the voice they were denied.
We can now see past the romanticized movies and the carefully sanitized history books.
We are left with the dark, raw reality of a completely avoidable human disaster. The survivors carried these heavy, terrifying secrets to their lonely graves.
Their hidden stories remind us to always question the official historical narrative.
Because history is always written by the powerful individuals who survived. But the absolute truth is always remembered by those who were completely silenced.
Subscribe and stay tuned for more hidden historical stories.